Hello and welcome to another edition of the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale. I am Jeff.
And I am Eddie Cruz.
And today we are doing Ted.
Ted!
This is number 11, right?
Yeah, season 2, episode 11.
All right, right on. So what do you remember? You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I remember the guy from Three's Company.
John Ritter.
Yeah, John Ritter. The man, the myth, the legend. Yeah. Rest in peace. He comes out and Buffy's mom has a hard-on for him.
Yeah, he's Buffy's mom's new beau.
Yeah, and he's kind of almost too good to be true. Buffy has problems with him.
Yeah, she thinks he's evil, right? And everyone's like, no, people are Buffy, you're crazy.
And then he goes all deadly friend, and he turns out to be a robot.
Yeah, the first time we see a robot in Buffy, right?
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, aside from like that mecha internet demon, which
I have to say the thing I remember most about this episode is how much I enjoyed it the first time I watched it.
I loved this episode.
I loved the fuck out of this episode the first time I saw it. And then I have seen this one a lot. I feel like this is my episode. Like you guys said that you all had an episode that was always on TV whenever you turned it on. This is my serpent monster episode or whatever.
And I don't think I've seen this episode that much, but I remember really, really liking it every single time I have seen it. And it is memorable because of John Ritter. It's like, no fucking way, John Ritter. And then I love the word malarkey.
Yeah,
malarkey.
That was great.
Which is used in the episode, and I don't know, it tickles me.
Yeah, it's a good word. Malarkey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go watch this episode.
Let's do it.
In every generation, two Prose are born. Chosen to watch every episode of Buffy and tell you what they think about them. This is the Prose Visit Sunnydale. Season 2.
So we've just finished watching the episode, and
it was awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
As much as I thought I did.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was well written, well paced. I've seen this one a dozen times and I still was entertained.
But part of the reason for that was John Ritter, realistically. The writing was great,
he
but
kicked ass. He
yeah.
really did hit it out of the park with this and everything he ever did.
Everything.
Remember Stay Tuned? I fucking love that movie.
Stay Tuned was good.
That was dope, dude. Yeah. I mean, Problem Child, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Problem Child 2, that was awesome.
That's how I remember him.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're not old enough to be all, Three's Company, fuck yeah,
I remember watching
Three's
Company and, like, not understanding what the fuck they were talking about ever. And just being all like, whatever, I don't know.
The maintenance
guy's funny.
The first time I remember John Ritter is really Problem Child.
Yeah. Problem Child was amazing. What happened to that kid? I'd like to find... no, they'll probably just be sad.
He's an adult redhead.
At the end?
Yeah.
He grew up to be a redhead somewhere in Ohio.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
He has some sort of emotional problem from Hollywood and being
like
a redhead
child.
There you go. So what the fuck was this about, Eddie?
This episode was pretty well paced, like I just said. It starts out with the Scoobies talking about Captain and Tennille, which brings up a question of me. Do you know what Captain Tennille is?
Yeah.
I don't.
But I don't think teenagers would be talking about it. Captain and Tennille is like, I thought they were a one-hit wonder in the 70s.
Okay.
I don't think teenagers in the 90s would know about a one-hit wonder in the 70s.
I always thought that was like a TV show.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
So they sing a song?
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
They were like a Sonny and Cher.
Okay. Right on. Anyway, so after they talk about the Captain Tennille, they go on to pretty much put a little concise package on everything that happened in the last episode. The last two episodes, I guess.
Yeah, last several.
Well, yeah,
Really?
they're like, all right, well, with Spike and Drusilla out of the way, and the contract on Buffy from the Assassins of Taraka has been lifted, and you're just like, what? Like they just like, all right, all that shit's over.
How do you feel about that?
I felt good because I'm glad that they're focusing on like kind of an overall arc in the season. I didn't like the neat little package they put that in, but a lot of my favorite shows do that, and it's something that I kind of don't always really like kind of see. And of course, there's shows that don't do that, but like I remember watching Dragon Ball and they do that, and
I mean, it's a concise way of doing it, and I think it is well written, but it is kind of bullshit.
yeah, a little bit. It is a little bit bullshitty.
But also, do you really want to see more of the Tarakan assassins?
No, I don't. And that little conversation lasted like 5 seconds. Like I actually wasn't paying attention when we started the episode and was like, hey, I want to watch that again because I just looked away for 2 seconds thinking it was just going to be a joke about the mall. And they talked about everything that happened last episode.
I was kind of okay with it. In one aspect, I was like, that's kind of bullshit. They summed it up so much or so quickly. But at the same time, I don't want another full episode or even another fucking 10 minutes of them. Like, it's basically like, oh, they were assassins. They called off the hit and that's it.
But Jeff, they're never, ever going to stop. Once they have your contract, they'll just keep coming.
But apparently, if the contract is terminated, then you're fucking fine. You're golden.
Apparently, if it's kind of hard or something, like they'll stop after a while.
If nobody's paying them anymore, they're like, well, fuck this.
Fuck this. Yeah. All right. Well, so they keep walking and talking about Captain Tennille and everything expository at all. And they run in on Joyce making out with a dude in Buffy's kitchen. And it's really, really like well, she hears a wine glass break, so she runs in there thinking her mom's life is in peril. And she is making out with John Ritter. So maybe her life is in peril, man. That guy's a heartbreaker.
He looks like one.
Yeah. So she's surprised, and immediately he oversteps his boundaries, in my opinion. Like takes charge of the situation. He's a take charge kind of guy, and it
doesn't seem that bad to start with, right?
No, right?
At least in the
well, even right off the bat, he's like, "Well, I want to be introduced." If I was the dude who got caught with somebody's mom, would be like, all right, well, I'm going to get out of here and let you guys talk and I'll be back tomorrow kind of thing, right?
I don't know, man. It's like there's this whole like stepdad theme. It's like somebody new in your life that you're not expecting. And from my perspective, at least at the initial scene, like it is kind of weird Buffy going in and seeing her mom making out with this other guy that's not her father. But it seems to me that initially he's trying to get Buffy to like him and to get all her friends to like him as well. He's going to be a part of the family.
So right off the bat, Ted makes cookies. Everybody starts making
Xander loves
cookies. Xander eats the little pizzas. He says that after he bakes his pizza, he also pan fries it in herbs and oil. I do that.
Dude, I didn't even acknowledge that. That's
No, yeah, I mean, I'm on
You're
that
on that?
shit.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I do that regularly. Whenever I buy a pizza, homemade pizza, that's how I roll.
Fuck.
So I was like, "Fuck you, Ted." I already knew that.
I didn't. That's Ted's teaching me shit, dude.
There you go.
I think I'm on Team Ted early on.
To be honest, Ted's kind of a badass, right? I mean, right off the bat, he's like fucking making cookies, and he offers Willow to get her an upgrade for her computer.
Yeah, 9 gigs.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
that would be 9 gig hard drive, dude. Back in the day, I remember when my first computer had 1 gig, and I was so stoked that it had a gig.
If your phone has 9 gigs, you're kind of pissed because it's a shitty phone now.
Yeah, it's a pretty shitty phone.
Yeah. But can I talk a little about just meeting Ted? And you see Ted for the first time, John Ritter.
Absolutely.
He's super non-threatening as a person.
Absolutely.
He's like moppy flop hair. I don't even know how to accurately describe it.
It's definitely some kind of what's it called? Party in the back?
It's not a mullet.
It's a little bit mullety.
Because he has bangs.
He has bangs, but like in the back, there's a lot of hair. There's more hair. I would argue there's more hair in the back of his head than the front of his head.
It's a mop top.
It's a mop top with a heavy back.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he has his
like Danny
mop top.
McBride's hair kind of thing. If it wasn't curly, if it was straight,
not as bad. But yeah, I kind of get that. He has his whole like plaid tucked in thing with his like his foodie belly,
kind of like Alec Baldwin in Beetlejuice.
Just like. No, he's way worse. John Ritter.
Oh yeah, okay.
His body type is way worse. He's
more
just
like Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice pretending to be Alec Baldwin, and when Beetlejuice turns into Alec. Never mind.
He looks super non-threatening.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
he looks like a person that you'd see on the street every day, and it wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah,
just like Ed Gein. So after everybody leaves, Buffy starts talking to her mom, and she's like, "So you've been cataloging more than art at the gallery?" So that's. I don't really understand what that means.
Do you think that's... Well, that's supposed to be like... It's like, oh, you're supposed to be cataloging whatever the fuck you're doing, but you're hooking up with this dude. Is that Joss Whedon trying to explain where Joyce has been the last several episodes?
Probably. That would be...
Why she's a bad mother.
Why she's not around. Mm-hmm. Why Angel came over and was like, I read your whole diary and... ate some of your pizza and threw it up because I don't digest food.
Okay.
Yeah. So she talks to her mom about it, and her mom's just like, hey, you got to give him a chance. He's a pretty badass guy. He's been really cool. It's not easy being a single mom and meeting guys. So please, just give him a chance. This guy is cool and... whatever. And Buffy goes, okay, I'll give him a chance. And then you see her just terrorizing vampires. Then she's with Giles, and you can tell that she's going really hard on him. Giles can tell, and he starts talking to her about the situation, right?
Yeah.
And everybody essentially is saying it's not a big deal, you should give this guy a chance. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like they're right, but something's up. I've been in that situation.
Well, because it's a Buffy episode, so somebody has to be the bad guy. Yeah. It's almost like Scooby-Doo in a way,
and it has to be the guy visiting.
Yeah, it's like you're not familiar.
Episode.
Yeah,
it's always a special guest.
So there's something wrong with him, but with everybody else, nobody else can tell. This guy is, like we said earlier, too good to be true, and only Buffy can see it.
But then all of a
she can't even really see it. She's just, I think, still upset that somebody is dating her mom. That's not her dad.
They even go over to the Scoobies, and she has the same conversation she has with Giles with the Scoobies. They say the same thing, and then he just pops up at their school. And they're like, why are you here? And he's like, I'm fixing all the computers because you guys have Aptivas and they're all shut down.
Which is weird. I don't know if we should start this right now about what exactly Ted does for a living.
Yeah, because he's a salesman.
Yes.
But he says he's an IT guy. Maybe he's both. I mean, he is a robot. No sleep, night job, day job.
Maybe. I think you could argue that.
And he's also paying for the rent of that like commercial space, which is way expensive.
But they don't say that ever. Like they don't say like, oh, he's an IT and this. He says like, oh, I'm doing this. But realistically, he's just selling software and knows a lot about it.
Yeah.
So from my understanding, he just showed up and made a bullshit ass excuse.
Oh, absolutely, he lied about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he lies about that, and they believe his lie. He gives Willow a whole bunch of not CDs,
motherfucking floppy disks.
Floppy disks. Yeah,
was that shit hard or was that floppy?
They were floppy.
Oh, it was
Those
floppy.
were floppy. Sorry,
floppy.
My bad. Those were floppy as fuck. Some floppy ass disks they had there. He gives her like 10 disks, which, for me remembering, like it took more like 20 sometimes to like Microsoft Word. You'd be there all day just putting in a different disk.
Yeah, it was like 1 point something megabytes. Right?
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
If that.
So he gives them that, once again, looking awesome, and invites them all to mini golf. They try to get out of it, or at least Buffy tries to get out of it, and then Xander is like, executive decision, I want cookies and mini golf, and they all end up going to mini golf.
While they're playing mini golf, Buffy shoots off. Well, she shoots the fucking ball or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, she shoots it way too far.
Yeah, and Ted is a stickler for the rules. Buffy's mom's like, no, it's okay. He's like, no, we have to follow the rules. She shoots it off, and then she cheats and gets it in the hole. He shows up, and it starts laying into her about following the rules.
So yeah, he catches her cheating. Like, basically, she hits it, and it goes way, way, way too far. She picks up her ball and throws it in the hole like you would. And he's way, way too into the rules. But the way he comes out and, like, starts hitting his leg and looking at her is so fucking perfect. It was, like, the best delivery of, like, a creepy 1980s horror robot you could possibly do.
Well, did you, like... All right, so initially watching it, did you get the sense... I didn't. He was a robot. You just get the sense, right, that he's
different.
there's something
wrong with him.
Why is he hitting his fucking leg?
Yeah, I think at that point when he starts doing that, I'm like, all right, you got either two things. Either he's like a robot, or he's like... Did you ever see that movie, The Stepdad? Or Stepdad?
No.
Or Stepfather. Stepfather is what it was called. It was in the 80s. And, like, in the beginning of the movie, you see this guy getting ready for work or whatever. But then as he goes downstairs, there's a whole murdered family. And he just walks out, and, like, you see the rest of the movie is him going to the next family. And he's just a psycho murderer. So that reminded me of this.
So do you think it's like an homage to that?
No, I don't think there's an homage there. It just made me think about that movie. And, like, I kind of made a parallel in my head to that movie. But I also made a parallel to Cloverfield Lane when they find his, like, little bachelor pad.
Oh yeah,
that was kind of fun. But those aren't, I don't think, homages just so much as just, you know, other movies.
Well, you can't have an homage in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So he freaks out, and it's just awesome. His delivery of the last line is just so great. This is kind of a horrible thing to say to anybody. Like, I wouldn't be able to say this to somebody. Do you want me to slap that smartass mouth of yours? Like, he goes from being like the nice guy, like whatever, to like catching her behind the thing and just being all like, just absolutely horribly vicious.
And that's that turn, which is awesome. So previously, like, John Ritter is fucking... Ted is super nice. And he comes up with that line, and then is that the same time where he does the whole, like, I won't stand for this malarkey in my house?
He does all of it in one, like, foul swoop, just like, I won't stand for the malarkey, hitting the leg... And then says that slap, and I was just like, wow, that escalated quickly.
And super well done. I think, like, another actor wouldn't have been able to pull that off as well.
Yeah, I agree. Meanwhile, while they're doing the mini golf thing, there's, like, a bunch of, like, Giles and Jenny Calendar at a different location, like, having a little powwow of their own, right?
Yeah, during
like,
school.
Yeah, Giles is, I guess, going back there to check up on her.
Yeah, making some bullshit
excuse to go see her. He's like, we got some books in the library for you.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah,
spot on with that.
And you get a chance to see them, and she says she's doing well, and you can tell that maybe she's open to the idea of them being romantically involved again. Oh, maybe not that far, but maybe they can go out for coffee.
And she's still blaming him for everything. It's not his fault that there's a hellmouth there.
Joss Whedon just, like, wrapping everything up. Like, just like Buffy wraps up Angel's hand in the next little scene where they have to put Angel in there because he needs to keep his health insurance.
He's got to be in there for some reason. Why?
Why is he in the episode?
No, why is she wrapping his hand?
I don't know. He didn't get into any kind of fights or anything.
Did something happen to his hand last episode that I'm unaware of or not remembering correctly?
Not that I can remember right now. Oh, no. Maybe he was furiously masturbating. I got a rug burn. Yeah.
It's as good of reason as any, I guess. Other? When seeing that scene, it felt super forced.
Yeah.
Buffy and Angel had to be in the episode together. Angel was mentioned earlier because he was the one who figured out the Tarakan assassins, their fucking whatever the fuck was canceled. It's like the hit was canceled. Fuck Buffy. Nobody cares anymore. But why the hand wrap? There must be something we're missing, right?
I think it's just a matter of they have to have their relationship on camera every single episode from now on in order for the payoff of him turning evil to work.
But why couldn't he have showed up at a graveyard?
Yeah,
randomly.
Why
is it to like
weird?
Build some sort of emotional connection, like Buffy is taking care of Angel?
I would say so. That sounds right.
It does, but I feel like I'm forcing it.
Well, I feel like they're forcing it.
Okay, yeah. All right, there you go.
Yeah, so like you have this duality of like everybody telling Buffy, calm down, it's no big deal, this guy's cool, when he's like, I'm gonna slap that silly, stupid, smart mouth off your face. That was same delivery. I was just as good as John Ritter right there.
But yeah.
So that makes Buffy like incredibly pissed off, and she asks Willow, "Can you please hack on this guy? Can you hack into this guy's
hack
life?
this motherfucker?
Can you hack the world, Willow?" And Willow's like, "I don't know about that." And so Buffy's like, "Whatever, I'm gonna go investigate on this guy." And she goes to Ted's office, and of course, like there's like this weird, I don't know, Glenn Ross kind of like board.
I thought of the same fucking thing.
Where it's like how many things they've sold, and Ted's
always
kicking ass.
Be closing.
Yeah, get away from that coffee. Coffee's your closers. And so she talks to one of his coworkers. Coworker says, "That guy's a dick. He makes my life hard."
Which is weird. Like, why did that guy divulge so much information to the temp?
Because he was an exposition man.
Because he's like, no fucks given. Well, clearly that's why they needed somebody to tell you all this.
Everything.
But
he's all like, and the engagement, the wedding's in 2 months. What's your name again? Kind of thing.
I guess I like the idea of it's like, oh, new girl. I'm going to hit on this new girl by telling her all about some sort of bullshit that has nothing to do with anything. That's
weird. He also says, "Oh, here comes my Uber boss." And that's the first sign of Uber that I ever had in my life. I had never heard Uber before that. Like as a adjective? Yeah. So Uber vamp comes later. Uber boss comes first.
It's kind of funny how much, we'll get into this way later in the series, but Uber is a huge fucking thing now. Just
hashtag delete Uber.
Yeah, a term in our lives. And back then it was like kind of cheesy, I guess.
Yeah, it was kind of like I don't know about cheesy, just unused. Like it sounded very old timey.
And now it sounds super modern.
Well, now it sounds like a Buffy reference.
Well, or like
you need a car ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like douchebags giving car rides.
I've gotten many Ubers that most of my Ubers aren't.
I'm not talking about the drivers.
Oh.
I'm talking about their CEO.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. No, he's a fucking douchebag.
Piece of shit. Yeah. That guy should get hit by an Uber. So when she goes back home, she climbs into her window, and Ted is like fucking waiting there, really creepy. And like he's like, "I read your diary. What the fuck's a vampire slayer, bitch?" And she's like, "Give me my diary," and starts fighting him. And then like roundhouse karate kicks him down the stairs, son. Just like
fucks him up.
Yeah, fucks him up. Like she didn't know if she thought he was human. So I think that was like straight up, that was murder, right?
Yeah.
Like
the weird thing is watching that she does that kind of karate kick into the door, and he kind of bounces off and then goes down the stairs.
Yeah.
It seemed very pro wrestling to me.
Yeah, it was.
Like he almost
wouldn't
forced himself down the
definitely-
stairs.
That was a safe way to go down a flight of stairs, is what I hear you saying. Like,
It just, no, he got kicked into, he didn't kick
wall, yeah.
down the stairs,
he
right?
like hit the wall and then rolled down the stairs.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
That's
It was very pro wrestling. It was very manufactured as far as, I mean, he didn't actually die. So, not there. Oh, man.
you mean, are we talking about the actor or the character now?
I float back and forth.
Okay.
So Buffy kills a guy, and then the police come, and it's really like it stops the action.
Wait. Police? In Sunnydale?
Police. Yeah, but they're like the same guys that do the Making of the Murder in Netflix, where they're just like assholes that like keep kids that have Down syndrome in offices until they. Those guys showed up to Sunnydale for one night.
It definitely seems like they were fucking on it. There's so many deaths that happen in Sunnydale, and this one death, they're like, all right,
it seems like even if it was intentional, even if the punch was intentional, that was an accidental death.
let's make this fucking 17-year-old girl cry.
Yeah, it was intense. So they grill her, and the next day at school, life is torturous for her. You know, everybody's talking about her.
It's about the same, though. Like,
yeah.
how many scenes have we seen where people are staring at Buffy like, oh my God, they're just talking shit about her? That's Buffy's teenage life.
Yeah. And
Everybody
also
is always
maybe
talking shit
in
about
her head
her.
a little bit. You know, in this case, it wasn't because everybody was staring at her. But I had a question that was answered directly after I said it. But where the fuck is Giles at this point? Like, he went to go to talk to Jenny Calendar and then disappeared from Buffy's life. Like, he didn't do anything in this episode, really, right? He's like her father figure. Well, I guess not yet.
Well, he does show up and help, and we had this
He
discussion
shows up
during
after,
the episode.
After all that. But, like, at that point, I wanted him right there before everybody. And not only that, but, like, you would have heard about it the night before, right? He's her watcher. Isn't he watching her?
I don't think that in a literal sense. Like,
I would. I'd be like, well, what are you doing? You have, like, a camera or something on her?
he's like Sting.
Yeah.
I've been watching you.
I was thinking more like, it always feels like somebody's watching me. I can't get no privacy.
I like that song better.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good song. So you're right. So Giles does end up like showing up, and he takes on responsibilities for.
He starts slaying vampires, right?
I found that kind of callous, in my opinion. You said the opposite. You're like, no, he's taking up her responsibility. He's picking up her slack because it'll make her life easier. And I was like, he needs to be there for Buffy. He needs to be hanging out with Buffy and seeing how she is. And instead, he's still thinking about slaying.
You know, it's really a tough call, because I definitely saw it as like, oh, I don't know how to help her in this situation. She's involved with the police. I can be there for her emotionally, or I can be there for her in the sense of like taking care of her responsibilities that she needs to do. And I think that's a very like
Fine line.
well, a very guy thing to do. It's like a father thing. Do you have a father that like is there for you emotionally? Or do you have a father that's there for you to take care of the responsibilities that you need to accomplish?
All right. I get that. Right on. Also, still season 2, the paternal love isn't really fully developed yet.
They're working on it.
They're working on it. They're almost there.
Building.
And Giles goes on patrol, and Jenny Calendar shows up, and he's like, well, I wanted to get you out of harm's way, and fucking you showed up when I'm hunting vampires, and now there's a vampire behind you. So they start fighting the vampire, and Jenny gets out a crossbow and tries to shoot the vampire and shoots Giles in what appears to be his liver. All right. He pulls out that arrow and stabs the vampire. The vampire turns to dust, and then Jenny takes him to the hospital after making some quippy jokes.
Yeah.
So that was I Can I tell you that I just didn't care about any of the Giles and Jenny Calendar scenes at all? I know that it needs to be established for the plot, but other than that, I don't really care about their relationship all that much.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we've talked about that.
I think they kind of forced it in this episode. It didn't need to be, but they, just like you said, it needed to be fixed.
Yeah.
Also, I still thought it was weird that Jenny's still on this thing where it's like, I know you feel bad about putting me in harm's way. It's like, motherfucker, his friends died.
Not to mention, when you get the reveal about Jenny Calendar, you're like, fuck you, bitch.
Do you? All right, we're going to have this conversation.
When we get the reveal.
Yeah.
I have all sorts of questions for her. I'm like, what? All right, anyway. So they go to the hospital, and then you go cut back, and Ted's back. Buffy is at home. She tries to sneak out of the room. Her window's closed shut, and Ted stands behind her and is like, hello, Missy.
By the way, she's not strong enough as a slayer to open up a window that's nailed shut.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
She's like, oh.
Or just pull out the nails, right? I imagine, like, if you could grip the nail, you'd be able to pull it out if you have super strength.
Several fucking things.
Yeah.
It's basically like, it's shut.
Oh, well, I guess I'm stuck here. He's right behind her, and he grabs her by the neck and starts choking her to death. And then Joyce gets home, so he just kicks her in the face and leaves her knocked out in her room.
Super strong.
Super strong kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome glutes on him. So he goes downstairs, and Joyce is like, oh my God, you're alive. And he's like, let's go. And she's like, where? And he's like, to my super special place. I'm going to Kimmy Schmidt the fuck out of you.
Well, this is when he starts getting super sexist. Like,
yeah, he's like, I don't take orders from women. Yeah. So you obviously get the metaphor in this episode's about domestic violence.
But it's kind of like is it the first time it's happened with Joyce, like in the episode? Because I never really got that early on, that sense of like sexism, that like, you know, I'm the man, this is how it's going to go. I mean, he tells Buffy, but...
I mean, it didn't really come up because it was all rainbows and cookies before.
Yeah.
You know, now they're getting to real shit, real talk. Like, I want to lock you up in a basement for a while. Real talk. So Joyce is obviously like, no, I don't want to go with you. And so he knocks her out by pushing her against the wall, then picks her up, and Buffy wakes up and starts fighting Ted again. She grabs a pan and hits the fuck out of his head, and you get that final scene. You get another malarkey.
Yeah. This
one's a little bit more like robot, like, raw malarkey. I like those little spasms, those little, like, what would you call them? Like,
exactly that, spasms.
Robot Tourette's. That's what it is, right? Robot Tourette's.
Sure. Malfunctions, I would say robotic malfunctions.
No, robot Tourette's.
Sure, okay.
And while Buffy's fighting him, you get the Scoobies actually doing more investigation, because once they find out that the cookies have been laced with lithium?
Something.
Yeah, I think they say lithium. They find that out. Then they find out that he had a warehouse. They go to the warehouse. It looks like it hasn't been open in years. They find a secret door. They go downstairs, and they find his first 4 wives.
Xander tells us that he found him.
That was really, really well done, I think.
If you can't show it, it's a nice way to tell the audience.
And it was really quick. Real fast. You think like, oh God, we're cutting to this scene, and you're like, it's over. Cool.
Yeah, if you can't afford to show a closet full of dead people, why not just have that?
Would you have wanted that?
Depending on how it's done.
In this show, I wouldn't have liked that.
It would have been super cheesy.
Yeah, it would have been like 4 of the Inca mummy girls.
Yeah.
What if they just like had one Inca mummy girl, but they just like transposed it? They had 4 of the same exact.
Yeah, that'd
thing.
be awful. Pretty awful.
That'd be pretty great. So she hits him with a pan, and then they have that moment with Joyce and Buffy on the patio, right?
Yeah.
And they talk about girl stuff.
How do you feel about Buffy killing Ted with a pan?
You think that was a
Definitely.
a symbol, symbolism?
Yeah.
So like, all right.
It's like, it might not be done as well as I'd like it, but I think it is a symbol. Like, it's like something
I'm not sure
that
what
you
that's
would
trying
force.
to say. Like he took the reins of cooking from the women, and then she took it back at the end by hitting him with this pan.
Almost like something that you make women do, or that this robot would make women do in the 1950s to cook. Like, as a servant, she's using as a device to
Manipulate.
either attack or take back her own power.
Something he used to manipulate. Yeah, I get that.
But I don't know if that's.
It's not.
I think I'm kind of reaching.
Yeah, you
It
are
is,
reaching.
but it is
We
there.
are reaching.
It is there. They didn't do it well enough.
I think it was fine. I don't think it was. It's there. It's not overstated. I think it was done well. I think this episode is one of the better written episodes in a while. I think that's why we like it so much.
It's a great monster of the week with John Ritter.
Yeah, and
And
it moves
he kills
and
it.
it moves everything forward a little bit. And at the end, you
Slightly.
get that. Yeah, you get that Giles and Jenny kiss. You get a little bit more between her and her mom, which is good.
You get more with Xander and Cordelia.
Yeah, who's you pointed out to me only 2 years younger than Jenny Calendar in real life.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Charisma Carpenter is only 2 years younger than the actress who plays Jenny Calendar. But they look pretty similar in age.
Yeah, they look similar in age.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. We're watching 30-year-olds pretend to be in high school.
Yeah.
Or 27-year-olds, I don't know.
So how'd you feel about this episode overall?
I loved it. I think it's great. I think it's written well. It's funny. It's entertaining. Like I said, the pacing's awesome. It was good. Well acted.
What do you think about the whole theme of a new person in Buffy's life? Like the stepdad that enters. That definitely resonates for me. Being a child of divorce and having somebody else come in, it's almost like you are in attack mode.
All right.
Where
I could see
you
that.
don't want, it's like, oh, this person's not my dad.
You're not my dad.
Yeah, and it sounds cheesy, but really it's like, you're not my dad. I don't want to respect you.
I yell that at my dad all the time. Right on. I could see, that it would be more profound to you than it would to me. But, I get it. I get the idea that they already had something good going. And it's almost like Buffy and her mother are making it through without their father and have this connection. And this guy comes in and just wants to completely take over and give you a new life. And I could see why Joyce would want that, but I could definitely more see why Buffy would hate that.
And it's weird. At first you think she should like that, because how good is her life right now?
Well,
Wouldn't she be happy for her mom?
Maybe, but at the same time, it's a structure, and number one, she's a vampire slayer. It's not like she's doing meth on the weekends, She has to continue to keep her obligations to the oath that she was given.
But I don't think she's that concerned about her obligations in this episode. She's more concerned about the fact that there's this new person in her family.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has as much to do with that it's like, who are you? Why are you in? She even mentions her dad, which we rarely see her dad in the episodes, and he's mentioned few and far between. But it's just like this new person in, and she's already looking to kind of say this is what's wrong with him, and that's why all the Scoobies are like, no, you're fucking crazy. But in the end, he turns out to
be a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught this, but I thought this was pretty fucking hilarious. Ted is praying, right? He's a religious robot.
I guess
they're doing grace.
The whole thing is he's a copy of his owner. That's what Willow says, right?
Okay, yeah.
She talks about the fact that the guy that created him made a version of him.
A better version. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the original was
he was
a sexist who's religious, and it's just repeating.
You could just say from the 1950s.
Not everybody from the 1950s. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
But,
white person from the 1950s.
a white person who looks like John Ritter from the 1950s would be sexist and religious.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right on. That makes sense. Yeah, okay. I just thought that was super interesting at the time. I was like, wait, he's a robot and he's saying grace?
Yeah, I agree.
What'd you think about the tone overall of this episode?
It was creepy in that good way.
I agree. I feel that's super strong in this episode.
I think that they did the horror comedy thing pretty well too. Like, you were laughing a lot at his delivery of things.
Yeah.
And that just includes him standing there when she's cheating at the golf scene, and you do that quick edit and he's right there. He's like, "I'd beg to differ," and you're like, ah.
But also his delivery.
Yeah, his delivery.
Like we were saying earlier,
yeah.
A worse actor wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yeah. Like when he does his Tourette's, his robot Tourette's, and he'll just be like, "Oh, would you like some maple syrup on that?" And then come back or whatever. That's pretty good.
I just think this was a great, creepy tone overall for a Monster of the Week episode.
For a Monster of the Week, I think it was one of the best, I would say.
And it made me feel uncomfortable watching it way back when, and even now. It has a very uncomfortable feel that I like.
Yeah, I agree. It covers a lot of good issues, and it resolves all of them. I liked that. It was a great episode.
Do you want to talk at all about Buffy's diary?
I really don't understand why she would have one. I mean, and especially be like, "Oh, I am the vampire slayer." That'd be funny if in her diary it's just like Kendra. I am the vampire slayer man.
She reads it as where's she from?
I guess Jamaican.
Okay,
I
sure.
guess. Right?
I just don't want to say Barbados. I'm still thinking Barbados Slim.
Down by the beach, boy. I am the vampire slayer man. Yeah. So she has a diary. Why have a diary if you're the vampire slayer? Wouldn't you want to mask that a little bit, or at least have a lock on it? You remember those ones with the little lock on it? She didn't even have that.
Yeah, but who is she hiding it from? Maybe her mom.
Everybody?
Angel has super strength because he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Ted is a robot with super strength. So everybody who gets into her diary has super strength. So what is a little
have
fucking
a diary then?
She's a teenage girl. Of course she would. Now it would be what? Twitter, Facebook, something, and there's no lock on that. You just go online, and
that's true.
So Ted would be even more apt to, I don't know, look online and find out you're a slayer.
Yeah, and you could Google the Slayer, and all these websites like ours would come up. You could listen to our podcast. It'd be really meta.
I that'd be awesome if Ted listened to our podcast. So deaths.
Deaths. Did anybody die? Are you counting the robot?
Yeah.
Why?
Why not?
He's no soul.
It was a death.
He doesn't have a soul. I'm putting my foot down right now.
Neither do vampires.
I don't care.
Vampires don't have souls.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Buffy kills a vampire. Giles kills a vampire. And
it sounded like he said kizzled.
Yeah, it probably did. Buffy kills a vampire.
She kizzled that vampire.
Giles kills a vampire, and Buffy kills a robot. And whether or not it has a soul, it's still some sort of entity, right? So I'm going to say 3 deaths.
Hell yeah. 3 deaths.
All right. We have an ending?
Yeah. For shizzle.
How did
killed
John Ritter die?
I'm guessing it was an illness. I'm pretty sure it was an
Cancer?
illness. I think it was cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might edit this out. This might be too sad. But
Yeah, man, that sucks. And his son, I think did his son pass away?
no, Jason Ritter. He's still acting.
All right, cool. Good. All right.
Funny guy.
Gotta get that Ritter life out there.